Our topic is end-to-end testing with Cypress. Here is our agenda. So first we look what is E2E testing or end-to-end testing, and let's talk about what is Cypress then, and then how to install Cypress, and what's the folder structure of Cypress, and what are the unique features provided by Cypress, and we'll see the difference between Selenium-4 and the Cypress architecture, right? And we'll do a feature comparison between Selenium and Cypress, and let's do a demo session so you can get a better idea. So what is end-to-end testing? End-to-end testing is like how the end user actually use the system. So we have to make sure our system is working as expected by the end user. So we have to perform a end-to-end testing. So like doing an end-to-end testing, we have to ensure like how our system work with other subsystem or interfaces, so databases and network other things. So we have to make sure all components are integrated and working fine, right? So for that we have to perform an end-to-end testing. It can be done by manually or we can automate that. So our topic is how to automate this end-to-end process with Cypress. So what is Cypress? If you take the Cypress, it's kind of built for modern web application. If you take nowadays application, almost all the web apps are based on JavaScript or Angular kind of things, right? So we have to use modern automation tools to test that. So Cypress is open source tool, and we have to use JavaScript for scripting, and it's based on Mocha and Chai. So for do the assertion, we have to use these Mocha and Chai libraries, right? Those are inbuilt with Cypress, so we don't need to install them separately, right? So actually, the main difference between Selenium and Cypress is not only for the tester, it's for developers as well. Actually, this tool is developed by front-end developers for their testing, and nowadays both developers and testers are using for their testing purposes. If you see this image, I took it from their web page. You can see it's developer friendly and it's open source, and you can see it built from ground up. That means it has a new architecture. So it's not based on Selenium. If you take other tools like Procact or other things, also based on Selenium. But if you take Cypress, it's completely a new architecture. In next slide, I'll explain like what's the difference between Selenium architecture-wise, explain what's the difference between Selenium and Cypress. Okay. So if you look at this NPM trends, you can see that people started to use that tool after last year. If you see this graph, you can see after 2021, people is rapidly using that tool, right? So actually, as I remember, it's developed on 2014. So nowadays, it's very popular among the community, right? So how to install Cypress? It's a very simple process. Before installing, you have to make sure you have already installed Node.js, right? Cypress is based on Node.js. So you have to install Node.js first. So npm coming with Node.js. So you can create a folder for your project, and you have to use this npm init command. So it will create the package.json file, right? After that, you have to install it using this npm install Cypress and this save dev, right? So only two commands you have to use. After that, it will automatically install all the dependencies and everything, right? So now you can see if you take Selenium, you have to install libraries and all that. But if you take this Cypress, you just need only two commands to install it, right? This is the folder structure of Cypress. So you can see that there's a features folder, and you can see that integration. So integration folder is the most important one because we are using this folder to store our test script, right? Features we are using to store our test data, and plugin folder we are using for event listeners, and screenshot folder we can use to store our screenshots, and video folders also we can use to store our videos, and we can have configuration in this Cypress.json file, and all the dependencies will store in this package.json. It's like it's a common for any JavaScript project, and all the modules of Cypress will be stored under these node modules, and we can use this support folder to store any reusable script, right? So actually you have to use npx Cypress run command to generate this folder structure, right? It will automatically generate this folder structure if you given that command, right? So as you can see in this image, before Cypress, you can see we have to do so many things to set up a framework. Like we have to choose an assertion library, we have to choose a testing framework, and we have to install Selenium, and we have to choose any other Selenium wrapper, and we have to choose any other additional libraries. But if you take Cypress, it's single click. So all the things are installed as a single packet, right? Nothing to worry about other libraries and other third-party tools, right? So let's talk about the unique features of Cypress. Main thing is it has time travel feature. It's like when our tests are running, it's automatically takes some snapshots, right? And you can refer that snapshot and you can do the debugging, right? It's so the debugability is very easy with this feature. I'll show how that feature will work this time travel. And other feature is automatic waiting. So we don't need to use explicit wait. Like if you take Selenium, it doesn't have this automatic wait feature, right? And it has these twice stubs and blocks. So in that method, we can use unit test and integration test with very control manner, right? And it has this network traffic control. So you can actually do some mocking APIs with this Cypress. And the thing is, it gives consistent result, right? So since it has like automatic wait, it's not flaky, right? If we take Selenium, sometimes it can be flaky, right? So other very good feature is like we can take a screenshot and videos. Say if we can run Cypress in a command line interface, so CLI, right? In that case, the Cypress will automatically generate some videos how the test is ran. So we can refer those videos and see how the test was ran, right? It's a very cool feature. So this is the architecture comparison of Selenium and Cypress. So nowadays we have Selenium-4. Everyone knows, right? If you take Selenium, you can see that Selenium, like we can use several client libraries. You can use C#, JavaScript, Java, PHP, Python, anything, right? So we have to use particular drivers. Say if we have to test with Chrome, we have to use Chrome driver. If we need to use Firefox browser, we have to use separate Firefox drivers. So you can see that there's a middle layer, right? You have to, even in the latest version of Selenium, we have to use this driver separately, right? So in this picture you can see Cypress is very different, right? So it runs on this Node.js process, and you can see that all our tests are running on the browser. So you can see the first frame, it has our test and the application. So it directly interacts with the application inside the browser. There's no middle layer like driver. So we don't need to initiate driver or install any drivers separate. So this leads to fast test execution, right? So there's no middle layer. So it will, all the tests are running inside the browser, not like Selenium. So this is the feature comparison of Selenium and Cypress. So you can see that if we take Selenium, you can use several languages like Python, C#, Java, JavaScript. But if you take Cypress, the only supported language is JavaScript or TypeScript, right? So if you take the browser support, Selenium will support Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, like that. If you take Cypress, support Brave, Chrome, Edge, Electron, and other browsers, right? So if you take the testing framework, Selenium support TestNG, JUnit, JBehave, NUnit, it's TechFlow kind of thing, but Cypress only support Mocha and Chai, right? If you take the test flakiness, you can see that Selenium can be flaky, but with Cypress, it's not flaky, right? If you take the documentation, like Selenium is kind of old tool, it has a mature community with multiple support, right? So Cypress also have excellent documentation, and the community is growing since it's kind of new tool to the market, right? If you take the execution speed, Selenium is slow. As I explained in previous slide, it has a middle layer. So Cypress is very fast since tests are executed within the browser. So other thing is, as I explained, Selenium doesn't have this time travel feature, but Cypress has it, right? So real-time reload. This is very cool feature also. Selenium doesn't have that feature. If you take Cypress, say if we change our code or our test script, it automatically identifies that change and it will run our tests automatically, right? It's a very cool feature, and it has automatic waiting. So Selenium doesn't have that support. Cypress has that automatic waiting support, right? By default, Selenium doesn't have support for screenshot or videos. You have to use some scripting or third-party libraries, right? So by default, screenshots and videos can come from Cypress, right? So now let's have a demo. I'm using this Visual Studio Code ID for scripting. Actually, most of the people using this ID for JavaScript-based development. So it's very popular tool and very nice tool. So actually, this is the framework we have using in our project. Actually, we started to using recently. So we are doing some research and we are still fine-tuning it. So I'm just give example like how our login page works, right? So if we take this code, I'll explain this first you can see that first line is we have to use this. That's mean we have to use it for, like, if we need to autocomplete our coding, we have to use this reference type as Cypress. And I define some constant variables, and I'm taking it from this Cypress.environment JSON file. You can see that it has the user credential, so I have to take it from there. I'm taking my agent username and password and all details from this file, and I'm preparing this login page as well, right? So you can see that this is the format you have to always follow. Like you can see that there are two callback functions like describe and it. So we are using this describe callback function to like group our test, right? Since inside this describe function we can have multiple function, you can see. So with it function we are giving our test cases. So we are scripting inside this it function, right? So we can have multiple test cases under this describe, right? So you can see that I'm logging to application, right? And I'm using this SCI object, right? We have to use this SCI object for every API calls in Cypress. We have to refer this SCI object, right? So I have to visit this login page. So login, this means I am passing my base URL of the application through this method, right? Sci.visit, and I do some verification like title is equal to 0, and I'm input my account using this method and username password, and I am finally submitting. So there's another test. I'm checking like submit button is enabled. Once I entered a correct username password, submit button is enabled or not, right? And the last test is like today I'm describing the scenario like there's an agent and admin, right, in our system. I'm talking about the agent logging of our system. So once the agent is logging to the system, he has some status, like the first he can says like on call, on meeting kind of. Once he log in, his status should be available. So I'm checking that, right? So let's run this script and see how it's works, right? For run our script, we have to use this command npx cypress open. It will open the graphical test runner of Cypress. Okay, so you can see these are the test cases we have already written. So I'm using this demo1 spec.js file for today's presentation, right? So this is the test run of Cypress. It has a graphical user interface, so you can see that it's very fast, right? So all our tests are fast. So I'll show you how the time trial works. You can see that in this left pane, you can see all the API calls. If you hover over the mouse, you can see how all the things are happened, right? So it's very easy for debugging, right? Another cool feature is there's an open selector playgrounds, right? So we can use this feature to identify elements in our application. See, right? If we take this element, so you can see this it automatically generates the coding as well, right? So we can copy this. So if we need to access this one, we just need to paste this site.get and this locator, right? Now let's see how we can run our test command line or headless mode, right? So for that we have to use this command npx cypress run, and we have to mention where our spec files are located. So I'm mentioning only one file, right? Because I'm running only this demo_1. So you can see that tests are running. So it uses this browser as Electron 94 in headless mode. So all our 3 tests are passed. So that's it for our session. Thank you all.